Lee, good to have you with us at Africa Tech Festival. Tell us what you've been doing here this week.
So basically we've just been, trying to get funding for our business.
Who is we?
Okay, so we is the Bula Books. Right? We're incubated by WeThinkCode, and with Bula Books we're trying to solve the literacy crisis in South Africa because 81% of the children can't read for meaning.
That is a big ask. There are a lot of partners involved in that. How are you advancing those efforts?
Well, we're just mainly boots on the ground, going to events, trying to get as much funding as we can. We've been funded by the Gauteng Department of Economic Development as a first step, and then WeThinkCode has helped co-fund that. But we need a lot more because the way we aim to solve the problem is building AI, right, for our languages here in South Africa, right, where we want to do speech-to-text models for the 11 official languages so that children can speak and read out loud, and we can basically give them AI feedback in terms of reading and pronunciation and etc.
It is a big ask. The literacy crisis is one that is not new to South Africa, but essentially we're talking about making it more accessible to children and bridging that gap?
Yes, we're trying to essentially, I can give you a background on my personal story. So for me, when I was in school, I don't know about where you guys are from, but where I was from, the schools would exercise corporal punishment, right? And I would be a child that didn't do homework. I didn't try to be a delinquent or anything. I just couldn't engage with homework. If it was in class, I was completely fine because I could engage with the teacher. But the second it went outside of class, it was basically hell for me to just do that homework. So, but because I didn't do the homework, I'd get corporally punished. So at a certain point, I would weigh my options and I'd be like, okay, this teacher corporally punishes the hardest, right? I'll try to do homework there. The others, I
strategic.
Yes, I was strategic with my punishment. So with that, basically sparked the idea that okay, if we could just gamify that process, maybe I would have so easily instantly engaged, right, with the schoolwork, and then through process of starting to build an app for gamifying learning, we discovered that the 81% statistic. So that's a very scary looming threat for the country. So we kind of said let's just marry that, right? Because there have been rollouts at some places for tablets and devices. My school, at the tail end of my graduation, we did get access to those kind of devices. So there is the efforts are there, right? And we want to join in. We want to be part of that process of taking the learners from no digital literacy to digital literacy and just literacy period.
One of the conversations that we always have at Africa Tech Festival is around accessibility and the marriage between that and then affordability. So beyond just the funding, what is it that you need?
What we need would be, first of all, devices, right? There have been the rollouts, but not at the scale we need. We need more, right? And then something else we would need is just the connectivity. There's areas are struggling with connectivity here, right? There are data deserts where people just the cost of getting data is too high, and for a rural area, that's just it's basically impossible in that context. So what we need are things like ISPs, just extending the infrastructure. There have been initiatives, but again, more. We need more. We need more effort. We need more effort from the government. We need more, from our big corporations here, right?
To what extent can government help? We had Solly Mahlatsi in and speaking earlier in the week. In terms of governance and policy, what would you like to see happen that's going to enable an organisation like yours to make the moves that you want to make?
I would like to see government investment into the AI space, right? Because that is a shortcoming for, I say, South Africa. We're kind of we're kind of behind already. We've always been behind, but we have the opportunity now for a rise, right? We can either get left behind, like we've always been getting, or we could try to have at least one thing where we can start competing in, right? And I think AI is that space where if if we can get like funding and concentration in this area, we could start solving problems like this one that we're trying to solve in, I don't know, in all kinds of contexts, right? AI is like the great enabler of our century, of our lifetime. Yeah.
Was it your first time at Africa Tech Festival this week, Lee? Can we see you next year? Can we make a date for next year, 2026?
Yes, we can.
There we are. Africa Tech Festival is where you need to be. And also, of course, find us on social media. Follow the hashtag Africa Tech Festival and make sure that you make a date in your calendar for next year, 2026.